chosen ones. They never imagined you would rise after they left, yet now that you've discovered joy in their absence, they can't bear to see it. Someone from your past is circling back, not to celebrate your growth, but to disturb the peace you've worked so hard to build without them. Their anger is not truly about your happiness, it's about the truth they can no longer escape. You never needed them to thrive, and that reality eats away at their ego, forcing them to face their own lack of growth and evolution. Their return is not about reconciliation, it's about control. It's about regaining access to the power they once drew from your presence. To them, your boundaries are not signs of strength to be respected, but challenges to overcome. They twist words that once felt comforting, turning familiarity into a weapon designed to blur your sense of safety. The anger they carry is not random, it is deliberate, a calculated attempt to destabilize your peace and remind you of the role they believe you should still play in their story. They don't see you as a person with autonomy, they see you as a source of validation. They lost the moment you walked away. Their return is a declaration that your freedom unsettles them, their rage fueled by the audacity of your joy, a living reminder that you've thrived without them while they remain trapped in the very cycle you escaped. Even Scripture offers a parable that reflects this dynamic. The story of the prodigal son speaks of a return marked by shame, humility, and expectation. In the tale, the son comes back seeking forgiveness, and the father welcomes him without condition. But in life, when certain people return to you, they may carry not humility but resentment, bitterness, or entitlement, and that changes everything. They often return expecting the same unconditional acceptance without ever acknowledging the harm they caused or recognizing the growth you've achieved. But unlike the boundless grace of the father in the parable, your role is different. You must set boundaries. Your responsibility is not to fix, absorb, or carry their turmoil, but to protect the peace you fought for. Unconditional forgiveness does not require you to sacrifice your hard-won independence or your self-respect. Their anger is not a reflection of who you are, it is a mirror of their own unrest. Their inability to regulate emotions is not a measurement of your strength, but of their unhealed wounds. The sting of their words and the heaviness of their energy may touch you briefly, but it is temporary. You are no longer the ground where their chaos can take root. Their anger may echo, but it cannot redefine you unless you allow it. I once woke up for weeks with an unshakable heaviness. No arguments, no visible conflict, nothing obvious weighing me down, yet I felt drained before my day even began. It wasn't until I reconnected briefly with an old tie that I realized what was happening. Their bitterness and unresolved anger had crept into my energy like an invisible weight I was carrying without consent. That's when I learned the hard way how vital it is to guard your energy. To keep your peace safe from those who would siphon it away, you must do the same. Draw boundaries so sharp they cannot be crossed. Refuse to internalize emotions that do not belong to you. No matter how loud their anger becomes or how present they try to be, you must release the weight of their chaos. Their emotions are not yours to carry. Stand firm in your power. Choose peace deliberately and keep their storms outside the world you've built. Unresolved connections are not harmless remnants of the past. They are open channels siphoning your life force without permission. They operate like invisible threads, tethering you to emotions and experiences that no longer serve you. Every memory, every unspoken word, every lingering interaction becomes a doorway, allowing their energy to slip back into your space unchecked. That's why you may find yourself inexplicably tired, your joy muted, your focus scattered, as though the air itself has grown heavier. Their bitterness clings to you, like a shadow pulling at your reserves, whether they are near or far. This is not imagination. It is the psychic residue of their unhealed emotions bleeding into your peace. Such residue doesn't disappear on its own. It hides in spaces, objects, and even in recurring thoughts. Without realizing it, You replay conversations that should have been left behind, or feel emotions that were never truly yours. These are fragments of energy, left untended, threads still connecting you to chaos you no longer need. To reclaim yourself, you must act decisively. Close those doors with authority. Sever the ties with clarity. Cleanse your space of anything tethered to their energy. This is your life, your soul, your field of energy. Guard it with unshakable conviction. The signs are clear when these channels remain open: fatigue that lingers, difficulty concentrating, heaviness in your spirit. These are not random. They are proof of energetic cords draining you. The only way forward is deliberate, unapologetic action. Visualize the bonds that tether you, not as abstract thoughts, but as tangible cords feeding on your vitality. Then, with intention, sever them. See yourself wielding an unbreakable force, cutting through every thread until only your own pure energy remains. But don't stop there. Your living space, too, must be cleared. Energy clings not only to people, but to rooms, objects, and the air itself. Purify your surroundings with sacred intention. Burn cleansing herbs, open windows to release stagnant air, and speak with authority. Declare your space as yours alone. Every corner, every shadow must be free of what no longer serves you. Yet cleansing is not just a single act, it's a way of life. True freedom lies in maintaining energetic hygiene. Ground yourself daily, through meditation, through movement that connects you to your body, or by spending intentional time with the natural world. Build boundaries like walls of steel, unyielding to intrusion. Be discerning about who you let into your life, and what thoughts you allow to linger in your mind. Reclaiming energy isn't about one moment of release. It is an ongoing practice of sovereignty, protection, and power. It is not just a practice. It is a discipline, a vow, a constant refusal to let the chaos of others infiltrate the sanctuary of your peace. For you, peace is sacred, and protecting it is an act of courage. To the world, you may seem like the one who doesn't fit in, but that is because you were never meant to. You are the chosen one, the anomaly who doesn't conform to systems built on illusion. You are the one who peers beyond the veil, while others remain blinded by the surface. They told you to stay silent, to shrink, to settle, to walk the same tired path everyone else treads. But no matter how much they pushed, you could never fold yourself into their small boxes. Your spirit resisted. Your soul remembered its purpose. You are not here to mimic ordinary patterns. You are here to transcend them. Ordinary never held your interest because you were never designed for it. You are not here to follow rules written by the fearful. You are the flame in the dark, the storm that exposes falsehoods, the earthquake that shakes illusions to dust. You are the unshakable, the unstoppable, the untouchable. While the world spins endlessly in circles, chasing approval, money, and recognition, you walk your own path, even if it means walking alone. And when you do not walk for the applause. You do not stand for the approval of others. You move because it is who you are. It is in your blood. It is your nature. Silence was never an option, because your very being was designed to roar with truth. Here's to you, the one who transforms pain into power, betrayal into wisdom, and wounds into wings. The one who takes what was meant to destroy them and alchemizes it into something divine. You are the carrier of wisdom that cannot be borrowed, imitated, or taught. It is earned through scars, through survival, through nights when you thought you wouldn't make it, but did. That wisdom flows through you now, like a river of fire, lighting your path, and burning away everything false. Yet with such strength comes torment. You've known what it feels like to carry emotions that are not yours, to be tied to connections that siphon your energy, leaving you drained and restless. Some days you have felt stuck, as though every step forward drags you 2 steps back. These unresolved ties are not harmless. They are chains, invisible, but heavy, keeping you in loops of exhaustion. Like a prisoner spinning endlessly in a cycle, you remained bound until you chose to break free, and when you did, you discovered the truth. Releasing those energies liberates you. It frees your spirit, allowing you to reclaim your strength, to channel it into building the destiny that belongs to you, and only you. You are a force of undeniable gravity. People cannot ignore you, no matter how much they try. Your energy demands attention. Some will admire you deeply, drawn to your clarity, your glow, your growth. Others will envy you, triggered by the light that reveals their shadows. But either way, they cannot look away. Your presence illuminates the very spaces they would rather keep hidden. Your evolution throws their stagnation into sharp relief. Your accomplishments are not just victories, they are mirrors reflecting their unhealed wounds, their avoided decisions, their neglected growth. It's not only what you've achieved, but the courage behind your achievements that unsettles them. It's the way you rose out of the fire, carrying scars yet radiating strength. That courage awakens something primal in them, awe, fear, and resentment all at once. This duality is inevitable for chosen ones. Your very existence stirs conflict because it forces others to see themselves. They admire you because your light shows them what is possible, what could be. But in the same breath, that admiration morphs into resentment, because your very presence reminds them of the truths they've denied and the shadows they've buried. They are drawn to you like moths to a flame, reaching for your warmth, but terrified of the fire that demands their transformation. And here lies the truth. You must never forget, their envy is not your burden, their conflict is not your shame, their fear is not your responsibility. You were not sent to shrink yourself to make them comfortable. Their reactions are not a reflection of your flaws but of your power. What you ignite in them is their battle to fight, not yours to carry. Some will rise because of you. Your light will inspire them. Your resilience will give them courage. Your authenticity will free them. But others will resist and lash out, desperate to protect their comfort zones, determined to stay in the shadows. Either way, your path remains unchanged. You must hold your ground. You must protect your light, because your magnetism, your unshakable pull, is not just a gift. It is a sacred responsibility. Carl Jung's shadow theory speaks directly to this. He wrote that the shadow is the part of ourselves we hide, suppress, or deny, our fears, insecurities, and untapped potential buried under shame. And when chosen ones step fully into their light, they don't just shine for themselves, they become living mirrors. Every step you take in your power reflects not only what others could become, but also what they have been too afraid to face. That is why people's reactions to you are so intense. You don't simply walk into a room, you awaken it. You stir what lies dormant. You unmask what was hidden. You reveal both the greatness and the fear in others. This is the burden and the blessing of being chosen. Your light does not just illuminate your path, it forces everyone else to confront their own. This duality, the simultaneous revealing of what could be while exposing what remains unresolved, creates a storm of complex emotions in others. On one side, there is admiration, a genuine spark of inspiration that arises when they glimpse the possibilities reflected through your growth. On the other side, however, there is hostility, a visceral discomfort that emerges when they are forced to confront the shadows within themselves, the fears, regrets, and unhealed wounds they would rather keep buried. For chosen ones, this reaction is not optional, it is inevitable. Your very presence is a mirror that does not lie, and the light of your evolution challenges others to either face their shadows or resist them entirely. Anger, in particular, is a potent and low-vibrational force. Unlike fleeting emotions, it reverberates far beyond its original source, sending out waves that affect not only the person holding it, but also the environment, the relationships, and the energy fields it touches. When that anger is directed at you, It doesn't just show up in hostile words or toxic actions. It infiltrates your space, weaving itself into the fabric of your days. You may notice tension where there was once ease, sudden hostility from strangers with no clear reason, or disruptions in plans that should have unfolded smoothly. These are not coincidences. They are echoes of unresolved rage bleeding into your energetic field. Anger, whether loudly expressed or silently harbored, carries weight. It clings to spaces, to conversations, even to your own thoughts if left unchecked. It thrives on reaction, feeding on your attention, magnifying what is minor into something that feels insurmountable. What should have been a small misunderstanding grows into a consuming conflict. A slight inconvenience begins to feel like an impossible obstacle. That is the nature of this force. It multiplies chaos, spreads imbalance, and thrives in disruption. Left unaddressed, it creates wildfire, burning through peace and harmony, leaving behind confusion and unrest. But here lies the truth. Anger cannot destroy you unless you allow it to. Its entire purpose is destabilization, to drag you down into its frequency of conflict. That is why your greatest weapon is refusal. Refusal to meet anger with anger, to let it dictate your response, to grant it a home within your being. Instead, you ground yourself in clarity, in calm, in the certainty of your own spirit. You recognize its attempt to infiltrate your life, and with unshakable boundaries you block its entry. Anger may roar loudly, but its strength is an illusion. It is ultimately weak, for it cannot survive in the presence of someone who refuses to feed it. Protect your energy, stand firm in your peace, and let the force of their fury dissipate into emptiness where it cannot touch you. Understand this. Their anger is not a reflection of your shortcomings, it is a reflection of their limitations. Just as Mary Shelley's Frankenstein illustrated through the creature's fury toward his creator, rage often arises not from inherent malice, but from frustration and despair. The creature's anger was born from the awareness of what he could never become, from the realization of the power and mastery that Victor Frankenstein possessed, but withheld from him. In the same way, when others project their resentment onto you, it is not because you have wronged them, it is because your growth highlights the power they have not yet claimed, the mastery they have refused to develop. Your peace, your clarity, your growth becomes a reminder of the potential they never pursued, the wounds they never healed, the truths they continue to avoid. Their anger, unsettling as it may feel, is nothing more than proof that your presence activates something deep within them. It is evidence of their stagnation. Their rage is not a sign that you are wrong, but that you are powerful enough to stir what they would prefer remain dormant. And here lies the hidden gift. Anger can be transmuted. Energy never disappears. It shifts form. When you stand in awareness, their hostility becomes fuel for your own ascension. You can channel that energy, redirecting its charge into motivation, into creativity, into deeper levels of discipline and spiritual growth. What they intended to destabilize you can instead sharpen you, strengthen you, and expand you. The storm they send your way does not have to break you. It can become the wind in your sails. Their resentment can become the pressure that forges diamonds in your soul. Their chaos can become the fire that tempers your spirit. Anger, when transmuted, becomes power in its purest form. Their resentment, no matter how venomous it feels, is not the end of you. It is proof of your becoming. When others project anger, envy, or hostility toward you, understand that their energy is not a punishment, but a signpost. It is confirmation that you are crossing thresholds they refuse to approach. Their resistance reveals the very limits they have chosen to remain bound by, while you continue to rise above them. Let this become your reframe. Their rage is not failure, it is recognition. It is their distorted way of acknowledging your undeniable power. They cannot ignore you even when they try. Your growth shines too brightly, and your presence exposes what they've hidden from themselves for far too long. Every attack, every attempt to drag you down is in truth evidence of your ascent. Their hostility is a form of backhanded respect. If you were not evolving, they would not notice. If your light were not piercing through their illusions, they would not feel threatened. Reframe their anger as a strange kind of tribute, an unspoken confession that your energy cannot be denied. It is the language of resistance from those who cannot yet step into their own power. When you see it this way, anger stops being a weight to carry and becomes fuel, a resource waiting to be transformed into fire for your resilience and your purpose. Transmutation is your secret weapon. The alchemy of the chosen one is not just about enduring hardships, but about reshaping them into tools for growth. Their negativity, when reframed, sharpens your focus like a blade. Instead of scattering your energy and reaction, it strengthens your clarity, driving you deeper into your purpose. Their envy may bruise for a moment, but once transmuted, it becomes confirmation that you are walking where few dare to tread. In their bitterness, you will find your boldness. In their rejection, you will find your redirection. And in their attempts to silence you, you will find your voice roaring louder. Yet to live this way requires discipline, real, deliberate, consistent action. Protecting your energy is not something you can do occasionally. It is a daily devotion. Begin each day, not by reaching for the noise of the world, but by anchoring yourself in silence, clarity, and intention. Set aside sacred moments to connect with your inner stillness before the chaos of life attempts to reach you. Meditation is your foundation. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and visualize yourself surrounded by a radiant shield of light, impenetrable to negativity, unyielding to manipulation, yet open and receptive to love, wisdom, and divine guidance. This is more than imagination. It is a command to your subconscious and a message to your spirit. I do not carry what does not belong to me. Rituals are, see it this way, anger stops being a weight to carry and becomes fuel, a resource waiting to be transformed into fire for your resilience and your purpose. Transmutation is your secret weapon. The alchemy of the chosen one is not just about enduring hardships, but about reshaping them into tools for growth. Their negativity, when reframed, sharpens your focus like a blade. Instead of scattering your energy and reaction, it strengthens your clarity, driving you deeper into your purpose. Their envy may bruise for a moment, but once transmuted, it becomes confirmation that you are walking where few dare to tread. In their bitterness, you will find your boldness. In their rejection, you will find your redirection. And in their attempts to silence you, you will find your voice roaring louder. Yet, to live this way requires discipline, real, deliberate, consistent action. Protecting your energy is not something you can do occasionally. It is a daily devotion. Begin each day, not by reaching for the noise of the world, but by anchoring yourself in silence, clarity, and intention. Set aside sacred moments to connect with your inner stillness before the chaos of life attempts to reach you. Meditation is your foundation. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and visualize yourself surrounded by a radiant shield of light, impenetrable to negativity, unyielding to manipulation, yet open and receptive to love, wisdom, and divine guidance. This is more than imagination. It is a command to your subconscious and a message to your spirit. I do not carry what does not belong to me. Rituals are not empty routines. They are tools of alignment. After meditation, cleanse your space so it supports your growth. Burn sage, Palo Santo, or frankincense, letting the smoke purify the air and lift away stagnant energy. Ring a bell, strike a singing bowl, or recite chants to disrupt negative frequencies and restore balance. Take salt baths to wash away energetic residue, letting the water become both a physical and spiritual detox that draws out the heaviness left behind by difficult interactions. These rituals may seem simple, but they are powerful acts of sovereignty, each one declaring, This space is mine. This energy is mine. Nothing that does not serve me may remain here. Boundaries too are sacred. They are not polite suggestions. They are lines carved in stone. Say no without apology. Decline invitations that drain you. Disengage from conversations that pull you into chaos, and distance yourself from connections that no longer align with your spirit. Guard your digital spaces as carefully as your physical ones. Unfollow, mute, block or delete anything that consistently stirs negativity. Your peace is more valuable than politeness. Protecting it is not selfishness. It is survival. Your home should reflect your spirit. Fill it with objects, sounds, and scents that uplift you. Make it a sanctuary, a refuge where only supportive energy can enter. Reinforce your aura with protective tools. Crystals like black tourmaline, obsidian, or amethyst act as energetic shields, absorbing negativity before it reaches you. Wear amulets, charms, or bracelets, not just as decorations but as reminders of your strength. Speak affirmations daily, not as empty words, but as commands to your energy field. I am untouchable to energies that do not serve me. I am grounded, whole, and unshakable. My spirit is my fortress. Over time, these affirmations reprogram your subconscious mind, making it second nature to repel what seeks to harm you. I once lived through days where everything seemed chaotic for no apparent reason. I would wake up optimistic, but by midday, my patience wore thin. People snapped at me, small inconveniences piled up into frustration, and I felt like I was being pulled under by a current I could not see. It was only when I began practicing grounding meditation each morning, just 5 minutes of visualizing myself surrounded by a shield of radiant light, that things shifted. The chaos didn't disappear, but it lost its power over me. Challenges still came, but they could no longer throw me off balance. That small act of discipline created a ripple effect that changed the entire tone of my days. This is the truth. The smallest actions done with consistency create the most profound shifts. Just 5 minutes can reset your energy. Just one act of cleansing can release the residue of a heavy day. Just one firm boundary can protect you from weeks of unnecessary chaos. Your energy is your foundation. When it is stable, the storms of the world cannot shake you. When your inner fortress is fortified, even the loudest attacks collapse at your gates. So prioritize yourself unapologetically. Protect your peace as though your life depends on it, because in many ways it does. A well-guarded energy is not a luxury. It is a necessity for chosen ones. It is the difference between walking in clarity and drowning in chaos, between being a beacon of light and being consumed by shadows. Remember this, you are not here to carry the weight of the world, you are here to shine in it. Every practice, every ritual, every boundary is a declaration of sovereignty. You belong to your purpose, not to their chaos. It is your divine right to protect your energy, your relationships, and the sanctuaries you've built with love and care. External energy, if left unfiltered, can infiltrate even the strongest bonds, slipping into the cracks of trust and weaving discord where once there was harmony. It does not always arrive as an obvious storm. Sometimes it comes as whispers, subtle manipulations, or unseen tensions, like Iago and Shakespeare's Othello, who with nothing more than calculated suggestion dismantle the trust between Othello and Desdemona. External forces can plant seeds of doubt, frustration, and suspicion between you and those closest to your heart. These influences are not always malicious people. Sometimes they are unresolved energies, lingering projections, or even envy cloaked in silence. Yet their effects ripple outward, often undetected until they have already altered the atmosphere. Suddenly, arguments erupt over meaningless details. Misplaced anger surfaces in conversations that should have been light-hearted. Coldness creeps into once warm exchanges, and distance spreads across spaces that once felt safe and familiar. These shifts are not accidents. They are evidence of energy bleeding into your connections, twisting perception and bending communication. You may catch yourself snapping at loved ones over trivialities, or notice their responses shifting, more guarded, more defensive, less open. An invisible fog settles over the relationship, clouding clarity with tension. This is the signature of unfiltered external energy, a shadow stretching over your bonds, creating fractures where no true break exists. If ignored, these subtle ripples harden into lasting damage. Small disagreements turn into deep, unspoken resentments. What was once a spark of joy becomes a heavy silence. Bonds weaken, not because love has disappeared, but because they have been eroded by interference. To counteract this, you must act with awareness and intention. Communication is key. Speak openly with those you love about the unseen challenges you sense. Shine light on what feels off before shadows deepen. Rituals can also cleanse the shared space. Burn sage together, allowing the smoke to sweep away stagnant energy. Play sound frequencies or music that resets the vibration. Light a candle, focusing on the flame as a shared intention to release outside interference. These practices may seem simple, but they are profoundly symbolic. They remind your spirits that you are united, that your bond is stronger than external intrusion. Your energy, chosen one, is extraordinary. It heals, inspires, and uplifts without condition. It carries the rare kind of peace that others crave but cannot create on their own. Like the haunting portrait in Oscar Wilde's The Picture of Dorian Gray, your energy becomes an object of fixation. It reflects back to them not just admiration, but the absence within themselves, what they lack, what they have refused to cultivate. They are drawn to you not simply out of love or admiration, but out of hunger. Hunger for the authenticity, balance, and harmony you carry so effortlessly. To them, your energy is both a soothing balm and a painful mirror. It comforts their wounds but also confronts their shadows. This paradox fuels obsession. They crave you because your presence feels like water to their thirst. Yet they resent you because your light exposes the cracks in their soul. You embody qualities they cannot manufacture. Authenticity that cannot be faked, balance that cannot be bought, strength that cannot be stolen. When you walk into a space, the atmosphere changes, not because you force it, but because authenticity always shifts the environment. They fixate on you not because you ask them to, but because your presence alone reveals truths they have long avoided. You become a mirror of both their potential and their pain. And that duality is unbearable for them. Breaking this cycle begins with detachment. Detachment is not cruelty nor indifference. It is self-preservation. To detach is to refuse to feed the cycle of obsession, to call back your energy from every place it has been scattered. Refuse to engage emotionally with their fixation. Do not let their longing or resentment cling to you. Instead, claim your sovereignty through words of power. I reclaim all that is mine. I release all that is not. I sever every unseen cord that drains me. I stand in my sovereignty, untethered and whole. Speak these affirmations daily until they become truth in your spirit. Ritualize your detachment. Burn herbs like sage or cedar to sever energetic ties. Bathe with salt, visualizing it pulling away what clings to you. Meditate on your sovereignty, seeing yourself surrounded by radiant light that no shadow can penetrate. Imagine invisible threads snapping one by one until you stand free, luminous and untouchable. These acts are not empty gestures, they are declarations of freedom. Detachment ensures your light remains sacred, untouchable, protected. Their obsession remains theirs to wrestle with, not yours to absorb. Their return into your life is not random. It is a test. It is the universe presenting you with the very energy you once struggled to break free from, now returning to see if you are truly changed. Like the mythical phoenix rising from the ashes, their reappearance marks the collision of opposites, your new growth confronting their old stagnation, your peace clashing with their chaos. Shakespeare captured this paradox in The Phoenix and The Turtle, where harmony and contradiction collide to create transformation. Their return is not a call to reconcile, it is a mirror reflecting your transformation. There was a time when their energy shook you, pulling you into cycles of drama, pain, and self-doubt. Their presence dulled your light, their influence clouded your clarity, and their chaos pulled you off course. But not anymore. Now their reappearance does not destabilize. It confirms, it proves that you are no longer who you were. You now stand firm where once you wavered. You now protect your energy where once you gave it freely. You now recognize manipulation where once you mistook it for connection. Their return is not power over you. It is proof of the power within you. This is the heart of transformation. Old cycles return not to trap you, but to test you, revealing just how much stronger, wiser, and freer you have become. Their chaos can no longer cling to your foundation, because your foundation is no longer fragile. What once weighed you down now only magnifies how high you've risen. Their return is not a threat. It is proof that you are no longer bound to their energy. You are the phoenix, unshaken, untouchable, unstoppable. That's all for today. Heavenly Father, I pray for the deepening of my faith. Teach me to trust you even when evidence is unseen. Help me rest in the certainty of your everlasting presence, knowing you will never harm me. I believe that your thoughts for me are of peace and prosperity, to give me a future filled with hope. Thank you, gracious and eternal Father, for always hearing my voice. I lift this prayer to you in the name of Jesus. Amen. Thank you, Jesus, for your endless love and provision. I am deeply grateful for your presence in my life and for the abundance you continually provide. If this message spoke to your heart, please like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with those who need encouragement today. Leave a comment below about your journey and how you are preparing for your own triumphant return. And if you'd like to support our work, please